This is Noel Tate, one half of the Velvet Drapes from Trapped in a World, the Howard the Duck podcast, and you're listening to Capes and Lunatics.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. And listen to the lasers, my friend, because that's how you know you're protected from asteroids coming to this Earth to destroy us all. Hey, cats and kittens! Welcome to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pitts,
Phil Podcast Perich.
Oh, the man who podcasts himself. His hair is not really red. It just glows with that effervescent energy of podcastery.
My aura.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched these, but yeah, you get this real vibe on your lighting, the way it works.
Yeah.
You look like Jimmy Olsen met the Human Torch.
I mean, there's redheads in my family, but no, yeah, it's just the lighting.
Yes, I don't know. That's what he says. But anyway, so okay, let's talk about. We gotta talk about Naomi.
Yes.
Oh, I really hope David F. Walker's getting nickels on this.
I mean, he should be getting something, shouldn't he? Because I
hope so. I haven't really double checked to see if his name is in the credits, but I really.
Yeah, but co-creator, don't they get something?
Yeah, you hope. You hope, Phil.
I know.
You hope. But if he doesn't, and Bendis is, that's where I go, Bendis! Look, here's what I'm going to say about it. It's a good show. It's not a bad show. It's just very slow.
Yes. Yeah.
And here's the thing that is frustrating the heck out of me, is it's got a good story, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
It's got this fantastic story they're building out for us, and I'm never getting to go watch it or see it because, I don't know, they're filling it with like some weird Riverdale stuff, and they're dragging this story out, Phil. And every time you think they're going to do a reveal, they thwart it. Yes. And that's like my biggest thing in this whole thing, because, okay, so spoilers for the first few episodes of Naomi. Within this series, first off, we are establishing alternate Earths. So, okay, that is clear. It's Earth 29. Or, was this Earth 29 or did they come from Earth 29? I forget on that.
I think they said they come from Earth 29.
They come from Earth 29 to this Earth. And again, this is one of these things. This is a pet peeve of mine. It's one thing to number your Earths if there's a central authority numbering Earths. Like when you come to another Earth and you say, I'm from Earth 29. How can you be from Earth 29 unless there's a central authority designating your Earth as 29? Unless you come from a world that has a base 29 numbering system, your Earth is always going to be Earth either 1 or A or some other initial thing that this is our starting point, and we're going to number all the other Earths we meet based on when we meet them.
After Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think most of I know on Earth 1 and that, I don't think they know the multiverse is still around, but before Crisis, there was, I forget what their names were, there was some kind of organization where they kind of I think they kind of policed the multiverse, because it was
after the New 52, they had the 52 Earths.
Yeah.
And they did have a group of beings who monitored the 52 Earths in the giant Plinko game that the 52 Earths rested in. Which, honestly, what part of you thinks, we'll just say there's 52 Earths?
One
for each week in the marketing year.
Because New 52 is lazy. Now it's all back. I swear, it's all back. But no, the Flash one was great because it's like, you know who the guy in charge was? He was played by Danny Trejo.
Oh, Danny Trejo. Oh, he was who was he, the Monitor, or?
No. There was some kind of, it's not like the TVA, but they were kind of just like the cops of the multiverse, kind of. It's, it's like, if you have to drag someone back to their Earth, that's kind of what they did.
Okay, well, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. And that you have this organization that just like, we call you Earth this and you Earth that, And that's fine. If you want to have an official... So, honestly, right there, if we get Danny Trejo in here... So I haven't been watching Flash lately, That's the thing. It's like... he hasn't been on so many shows.
Yeah, he hasn't been on in a while either. But no, it's because it's weird because there used to be an old Earth 2, and now after Crisis, now I think Stargirl is the new Earth 2, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting however they break it up, but it's weird. But so here's my thing, and this is my biggest thing that I've had from the very start of it. This is a world in which superhero comic books are a thriving, going concern. And because it is a thriving, going concern, we have this basic issue here is, okay, are these the tales of real superheroes? Or are these fictional tales? And in this universe, we have this idea that Superman may or may not exist according to people.
Well, that's the weird thing. It's like if he's a secret, then how is there a comic book about him?
Well, this is the thing. It's like, and also within that concept. Well, this of course goes to my central premise about Naomi. Which is what I think this is what they're working towards. This is their big bad, but they need to spread it out so that it doesn't spoil itself. Because I get the feeling it's not a Superman they're dealing with. It is a Superboy. It is Superboy Prime. And that essentially several beings, when they were traveling through space, wound up traveling through dimensions and wound up on the Podunk Earth, that we don't know what it is at the moment, but the Podunk Earth. And the Podunk Earth basically had no superheroes. Mm-hmm. There are no alien invasions. None of this stuff is happening. But on the Podunk Earth, all of these stories grew up and all of these stories existed that mimicked the realities of other universes, much like the Superboy Prime universe. Mm-hmm. And that the Superboy Prime came to be in this universe and became Superboy and started flying around and doing his thing and fighting off villains. And I think that is the crux of what is occurring here. Because we see that we have, what are they, Thanagarians? We had another character who was supposed to be someone that... I think that was the character that was in the comic books. The person who was Naomi's father's character. As someone who fought with the Thanagarians, but was now cool, and now I think he's dead. But, and we have, what's his name? Zamundo?
Maybe, can't remember.
Yeah, but he's the guy who owns the car lot. Because again, he's a person who has now been established in this universe. So when you have warlords from other universes deciding to just settle down on this planet for no real reason, you have to imagine that part of this story is that there's a reason they're not either trying to go home or trying to conquer this world. You know? Like, why does this guy who was arguably, for those who read the comics, was the warlord of Earth 29, was the destroyer and the guy who was there simply to create chaos and say, yes, to fight and to conquer, that is my being. Why is he content being a car dealer in Puerto Oswego? You know, what is this plot line that they're trying to establish?
I mean, unless they do some kind of twist where it's not him, just so you don't see it coming. You know, unless it's somebody else.
Well, no, because we see that who I think is supposed to be, if I recall correctly, the Ant character, the one who helped Naomi get to Earth, because she was the one whose power was that she was a super genius.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's difficult to work how it all fits together, but I'm not 100% certain how it's going to play out, but I have to feel like it just feels very Superboy Prime-y. It feels like the Superman that no one knows exists, but there's an entire comic book about him. And here's the thing, not only is there a comic book about him, there's a comic book about Zatanna. There are a lot of comic books out about superheroes. And yet, the only one that we've seen as possibly existing in publicity stunts is Superman, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because that's and here's this sort of thing. I can absolutely believe the idea of people in the middle and flyover country not really believing in superheroes. Because, that's just something they put on the news to confuse you. They create these mock-up superhero battles in New York City, in Metropolis, to make you think superheroes are real. But there's really no superheroes. I can believe that, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah.
And then you have the very telling scene, I actually think it's in the first or second episode, where Dee says, I knew Superman. I fought alongside him. And what's interesting to me, and that's where I get back to my Superboy Prime. When he says that, he doesn't say that in a way to say, the way he uses his tenses, he's not really talking about, he's talking about in the past he fought with a Superman. That Superman is real, but he doesn't necessarily say that the Superman who is in Oswego, or Port Oswego, was the real Superman. He took credit for it, but he could also just be covering for Superboy Prime. My actual opinion is that probably what we're going to get is that at one point or another, all these beings started coming through the universe, and because they started coming through the universe, they all had to sort of figure out what they were going to do.
Lilith was joking around, but she's like, watch, it won't be Superman. She's like, who it'll be? Who's Naomi on a team with right now and who has a movie coming out this summer? She's like, watch it be Black Adam.
No, Black Adam. But see, he'd be black, not blue.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is because he's blue, you know he has to be Superboy. Here's what's most interesting. In the first episode, they get a bit of Superman's cape, but they can't burn it or destroy it. But then how did it get ripped off? I guess we're supposed to believe that somehow Mongol ripped it off?
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, whatever he was fighting was so strong, but besides that.
It ripped off a nice chunk of his cape, but then his cape is ripping it. So I'm waiting to see what we get with that. But, it's interesting. It's interesting what they're building towards. It's interesting to what we're going to see, but, I would love to see Naomi do a lot more, but I just feel like they're dragging it. And I kind of feel like they're bogging it down with unnecessary, I think there are characters in here who I never even saw in the comics.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I remember in the comics, it's like there was one lady that was her best bud.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think she had all these friends in the comics.
No, she was, and I certainly know there was no running for school president premise, And along those lines, did we really need it here? Because she doesn't even become school vice president or school president. She just, it seems like they were trying to force a Riverdale plot. They're trying to force an Archie's plot onto this, and it just really feels like I don't know who's in charge of organizing this story, but it doesn't seem very well organized.
I don't know if that's a CW thing sometimes, because I felt the same way about Black Lightning. The story was good, but I didn't think it moved quick enough. Stargirl seems to move a lot quicker than this, doesn't it?
No, Stargirl moves quicker, but Stargirl has the advantage of having an established superhero universe.
True.
So when you establish the exit, and that's the thing, Like, Stargirl's universe is built upon the idea that there are superheroes.
Mm.
They're relatively clandestine. They aren't publicly known, but they exist.
True.
So within its own conceit, it can build out its own universe. In other universes, superheroes exist, and it's just a fact. And how big or how broad their existence is debatable. But there isn't a mass media marketing campaign behind them. This is the first one in which comic books of superheroes become a central thematic to the story. And which is why I keep on coming back to Superboy Prime, because that is one of the aspects of the Superboy Prime origin, was that he read the comic books and then he realized he in fact was Kal-El from another universe sent cross-universally. And because you have these two stories in which the chosen one is sent cross-universally, it implies that, that's what they're building towards. And this is always the problem with adapting an established comic or story into a dramatic series, which is that because all of us know what happened because we all read the comic, you have to come up with new things to happen so as not to make it spoilery.
Yeah, I mean, just like drop a little nugget of information every time. I mean, it doesn't seem like we get a lot of information,
Well, and it is just this idea that, I think that Naomi would like to. It would be nice if Naomi could do something and establish herself as a super being. But it's like, I don't even think they got to, so for example, I think at the end of the first issue of Naomi, they get to the starship.
Yeah.
And in this one, we don't actually even get to where Naomi landed until like the third episode.
I mean, this week was episode 4. Does it seem like we've got four episodes worth of stuff so far?
No, and it's like it seems most of it is taken up with a bunch of Scooby Gang nonsense.
I know. Again, it's like 4 episodes in, she has all these friends already. I'm like, you got to build to the Scooby Gang,
Well, I mean, she can have lots of friends. I'm not faulting her for having lots of friends.
No, but it just seems
it's like she has a social life. But at the same time, it's like...
But it seems like they're all there at once. It's like, how about we focus on one friend, one episode, one the next episode,
Well, why don't we just focus on, like, what exactly is her motivation? Because it seems like she has a motivation, but she keeps on, like, delegating out her motivations to other people. And I think like half the time, most of the people are like, wait, I thought this was just fun things we were doing. What are we doing now?
Well, I think that's the problem. Like, the focus, I think, keeps shifting. It's like...
Yeah. I mean, that is the problem. It's the focus. And I'm hoping it's the kind of show that will eventually come into focus.
Yeah.
That at, like, the next episode, it's going to be, okay, now we get the big reveals. Now it's going to kick into high gear as we rush towards the finale. But it's like, but the problem is that if you've wasted everyone's time before we get to the finale, then why is anyone sticking around for the finale?
And I guess all the shows are on a break till the end of the month, I'm guessing because of the Olympics. But yeah, everything's on a break till, like, I think the last week of February, so...
I am waiting for the first network to say, you know what, no, we're going to put on new content against the sports ball programs. And honestly, the Olympics are exactly the sports ball program to go up against.
I just think they're afraid if they do that, they're going to hurt their ratings. I don't think they would mind going up against them. That's the theory,
but I don't even know anyone who. Look, I like sports ball as much as the next guy. But first off, these are Olympics taking place on the other side of the planet.
Oh yeah,
which means by the time they come out. So by the time the curling finals are just dealt with, it's not like I can watch the curling event live.
Yeah, half the stuff's on in the middle of the night. Yeah, because it's on the other side of the world.
Yeah, and it's like, I can watch a taped episode of curling, but it's like, depending on what your thing is, unless figure skating is on that night, most of most of the Winter Olympics are not that visually stunning.
Yeah, true.
I mean, there are curling fans who love the sport and will say it is as engaging as figure skating, but it's not. And I say that as a fan of curling. I love curling. It is the sport of kings. And likewise with the fancy skiing, it's nice enough. But, and I would love for a show to just say, no, we're going to put out our brand new shows against the Olympics. And you know what? I will guarantee you a sitcom against most of these particularly rotten Olympics, because it's also political. Anytime the Olympics get political, it's always bad. That would be, that's the time to just say, you know what? Let's watch something else.
Are the Olympics on all the major networks like NBC,
no,
CBS?
It's only one, NBC.
Okay.
NBC, yeah.
Okay.
So really, any other network can put on whatever they want against it.
But I was just trying to say, because who? CBS owns CW, right? I think
it's Warner's and Universal.
Oh.
No, it's Warner's and Paramount.
Okay.
So it's actually its own.
But I'm just saying that, but NBC has nothing to do with them. So, because if the NBC owned them, I could see them saying, no, don't be trying to take any of our ratings,
Yeah, no. I mean, any network could do it.
Yeah.
It's just they choose not to.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm behind on my Legends of Tomorrow. Because I saw the last episode of what I thought was the end of the season, and apparently they started doing more episodes after that. And now I'm like, oh, wait, I'm lost again. The last episode I saw was them and not Constantine getting back to the future and the mansion. But then, and I thought that was the end of the season, but then stuff happened after that, so I have to go catch up. Yeah. But most interesting to me is the fact that in the near future, in the not too distant future, Phil,
yes,
Donald Faison, a delightful comedic actor and handsome young gentleman. You may remember him from such hit television shows as Scrubs, where he was the physician Turkelson. Oh, actually, his last name was Turk. I don't remember what his first name was. But everyone called him Turk, and of course the chief of medicine thought his name was Turk Turkelson. This is deep dive. Scrubs lore for you kids. He has been cast as a hero whose golden age is behind him, but he feels he can get a boost when he meets the legends. And he's a Legends fanboy. And so they're in their description of him, it sounds like they're trying to make him sound like Booster Gold.
Yeah, because they didn't say something about celebrity or fame seeking or something. So
yeah, it was fame seeking and celebrity. He was a superhero. I even think it says he's from the future. He admired the Legends of Tomorrow. So I'm really excited to see this. I'm really excited to see, because honestly, I can see Donald Faison being Booster Gold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always that's that kind of stuff. It's like, you know what? As a character, yeah, I could totally see that being that Booster Gold character. I can totally see him being the football player. I can totally see him screw up. I can totally see him stealing a time machine. I can totally see him being Booster Gold.
I mean, people have been begging for that on that show for a while, so.
Oh, well, everyone's been begging. Everyone always begs for Booster Gold.
Oh, yeah.
Booster Gold, like Ambush Bug, is a character that people want. Because here's the thing. Is that comic book fans want comic book characters. And comic book characters are not quite cinematic characters. They tend to be a little sillier, they tend to be a little broader, and they also tend to be really interestingly complex once you get past their garishness. Like, most superhero films basically say, how do we subvert the garishness to tell a human story? Whereas comic books say, how do we tell a human story despite the garishness? And that is what I think James Gunn understands, is that the garishness comes with the product, but you can still tell a human story, which is why he's doing so great with Peacemaker, and the fantastic Jennifer Chung, who we just interviewed over on Capes. Annie Chang, I'm sorry. Why do I keep on calling her Jennifer? I don't know. Annie Chang. Annie Chang, who plays
Sophie Song
on Peacemaker. She is fantastic.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful person. Go scroll up, listen to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Episode 247, kids. Yes.
Because she is just a beautiful person to talk to and interview and listen to.
Even if you've never seen Peacemaker, I'd say go listen to that interview because she is just wonderful.
No, really. Honestly, she'll make you want to see Peacemaker.
Exactly.
You might be disappointed that it's not all
her.
Annie Chang all the time.
Yeah.
But still, she's in it. But but I do think that's what James Gunn understands. I think that's largely what Kevin Feige understands. And I think that is the idea that people are trying to get to is, look, they're garish characters, but they're human beings. And it is this idea that, we are garish and we are weird, but so is the universe. The world is garish and weird, and we're going to just play our parts within it. So, yeah. So, where was I with that?
Booster Gold?
Booster Gold. Booster Gold is garish, and he is weird, and he deserves a place in it, and I am very hopeful they have it. Now, the big question is, will they have a Blue Beetle for him?
Oh, yeah.
And that's always that tough part, because, there are Blue Beetles, and there are Booster Golds, and it takes just the right effort to get them to mix.
I don't know if they dropped it, but I thought a couple years ago, I thought they were talking about working on a Booster Gold and a Blue Beetle movie, but I haven't heard anything in a long time. So unless they
always working on it. They've been working on it since Smallville, since Booster Gold first showed up on Smallville. Remember, we had Booster Gold on Smallville, and Lilith knows, she remembers.
Oh yeah, I watched Smallville. Yeah.
And, it was awesome. And we were waiting for the spinoff.
Yes.
Give us our booster. Come on. Nope. So we'll see where it goes next. I mean, that is my hope. Anyway.
You want to talk some comics?
Let's talk comics, Phil. I am exhausted with all this pop cultural ephemera. Let's talk comic books. You want to talk, let's see here. What do we have? We have a lot of Marvel books this week. Yep. I do have an indie. I do have, two DCs. Pick a Marvel book, Phil.
I'm sure you read Fantastic Four Reckoning War #1.
Well, of course I did.
So
man, that's a book and a half, let me tell you right here.
Oh, yeah.
They call out everything. They say, Silver Surfer, you survived the last destruction of this universe. You can bring this universe back again, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I can. He's got to recreate the Beyonder. How is the Silver Surfer, now, just the Axis Mundi of this universe?
Popularity.
It's like, all of a sudden, it's like, no, not Galactus, not Eternity, not anyone. Silver Surfer. He is the one who remains. Norn Rad. It's like, how I was just empowered by these guys. Why am I now the guy that's stuck outside of everything? But he is. And of course, so plotline. And by the way, I do know that this is, I had a feeling this is what it was going to be. So, anyone here remember the good old She-Hulk series? And she became one of the people who did administrative work for the Living Tribunal. And there was a whole thing about a group of species that did not want to be watched by watchers.
Well,
And they base.
well, was that the one written by Dan Slott? Because that's who's writing this. So.
Yeah, that's Dan. I had a feeling his seeds were planted all along. But that's how it goes at Marvel right now. Is I get the feeling that there's this idea of these people planting these seeds for decades at a time, waiting for their chance to do their big pitch. And so, yeah. And is he doing the new She-Hulk story, too, by the way?
No. Who's that? It's a female writer. Is it Rainbow Rao or something?
Rainbow Rao. Yeah, I don't know who, but that's cool. This is cool. And clearly they're all working on their story go round. They blew up the moon, Phil.
I know. We see old Nick Fury. We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. We see like youth and Nick Fury.
Yeah.
By the way, quick question. Quick question for you, Phil. Ben or Peter?
I believe that's Ben. I believe that's the Ben costume. So I'm pretty sure that's Ben.
Is that the Ben costume?
I think because the spider on the front. I think that's supposed to be Ben.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously the current Spider-Man.
I was gonna say,
Ben.
yeah.
But we'll get to that in a whole other episode, a whole other issue, a couple of minutes from now. I love them making the Fantastic Four central. I do like. I mean, I love the interaction between Ben and his kids and Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love the fact that we have Jack of Hearts fighting alongside She-Hulk, since that's who showed up in their apartment at the end of the last issue, which sort of gives you that point of space. That Jack of Hearts is right there. He's got a weird costume, by the way, Jack of Hearts.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still the same. I think for a while it was like a containment suit to like keep all his energy in or something.
And they pinned a Jack of Hearts on it?
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I know.
And here we have, and I still don't buy the Mourner as like any kind of cosmic entity. She doesn't have it. I'm sorry. She is just some lousy builder of the universe.
She's a plot device. She's like, I went to the end of the universe. Well, guess what? This is the end of the universe.
Yeah, something like that. That's where we see Silver Surfer's like, you have to go back into the universe and fix it. Whatever you gotta fix. I guarantee you we're gonna get a Beyonder by the end of this.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
We're gonna get some kind of weird flashback nonsense.
I just love Doom being Doom in this. It's basically like, no, you stay here and defend Latveria. Only I can save the fabric of reality.
Well, to be fair, he did it once before.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets into like, oh, that's that plot line. Emperor Doom and the God Emperor Doom, and I held the power of the Beyonders for like 5 minutes. Couldn't fix my face because it wasn't really my power. It was the Molecule Man's power.
Yeah.
Gee, what's he been up to? Oh, that's right, he disappeared. Scattered into atoms. I'm sure that will stick.
Yep.
But like they brought back the ancient race the Watchers gave like technology to, which is just kind of sad. Just this idea that, oh, what if we gave everyone the ability to make food and stuff, which comes back later when we get into the thing.
So it's like, I mean, that's a new spin on that story, right? That's like, yeah, they gave that race this technology, and like the race blew up like most of the known universe till they sealed off what was left. The Watchers.
Well, yeah. Well, the idea being that what we think of as the expansive universe is just a fraction of it.
It's only like 10% of what used to be. Yeah.
Yeah, which is an interesting take on it when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this idea, and people have commented on that. Just, gee, shouldn't it be bigger? Because like when we do the math and what we can see from the science, like, gee, it kind of looks like the universe is like, oh, wow, it has limits and all this kind of stuff. And it's an interesting take, and it's like, no. It is infinite, but we had to like close off a certain portion of it for repairs. But that's where Beyonders come in.
That's right.
Because the Beyonder can just say, well, I could always merge myself with your universe and repair the whole dang thing. Because that's always that thing. It's like that's the thing. Is like you have these galactic spaces, but when you think of like galactic galaxies as there are billions and billions of galaxies, even our own known space, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people out there. You want to talk a thing real quick?
Yeah.
Let's talk the thing.
Number 4. So I say this every month. What's going on?
Yeah, I still do not know 100%.
And I thought this story was set much earlier, but it's like, but then you get, what was it, Terax? I'm like, I thought this took place much earlier, but isn't Terax like after issue 200? I'm like, I thought this story was taking place before that.
Oh, we have to remember that like the first like few hundred issues took place like within like a few years.
Yeah.
So if you imagine this story, it's after he and Alicia were an established couple.
Mm-hmm.
They had a breakup. He wound up with some other lady. But again, what I find most fascinating about this is just they find the button that makes food things, and it gives a food thing to the thing, and he heals up 100%.
Yes.
Because they do travel to the blue area of the moon after the Silver Surfer. And man, I gotta tell you, this lady that the thing is with, she ain't nothing but trouble.
I think there's something going on with her and that kid.
Yeah, well, and you see that when Silver Surfer shows up, he like all of a sudden has like heart emojis at her, and it's and you can also see him in the next panel, sort of like rubbing his head, like what the heck was that? Like she's manipulating the environment in some way.
Oh yeah, I think
so. Yeah, that is what.
Yeah, I think that this woman and that kid are like some kind of aliens or something. They're manipulating people's emotions. But yeah,
something's going on. But we get Ben. He fights, and it actually looks like he was just fighting one of the robots. Like there's 100 robots there, but he was only fighting one of them. They keep on like drawing blood from him.
Yeah, have we ever gotten a lot of scenes with like them drawing blood from Ben as the thing? Because
very rarely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean,
because usually it's like, yeah, you can chip like pieces of stone off him, but I didn't think he bled a lot.
Yeah, we have a character named Berserker. It's like, hey, new to the story, Berserker. We need a third character for the panel, so there we go. And then we get our big fight. But meanwhile, you have Alicia's nightmare with Alejandro.
Mm-hmm.
And some mysterious figure in the background. Oh no! I don't want to say it's Nightmare because I don't want it to be a nightmare because that's really cliche. But yeah, so there's a nightmare being that's causing trouble. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy it as a book. I was most fascinated by the Watcher technology.
Yes.
And food that makes you feel better. Phil, you got a book you want to throw out?
Well, if we want to keep along the theme, did you read Fantastic Four Life Story? It was the last issue.
No, I did not read that yet. Tell me what happens in the last issue, Phil.
I mean, it's pretty much what you'd expect. In the year 2014, Doom tries... now that the threat of the Galactus is gone, Doom tries to, take over the world. So, the remaining old superheroes have to basically come out of retirement and team up with the young heroes. And basically, yeah, Reed's still... basically in a catatonic state ever since the whole Galactus thing.
Oh, goodness.
But,
I obviously missed an issue.
Yeah. But, so, the whole thing at the end, because they need information from Reed's head to help stop Doom, but I guess he, recorded his mind, or most of his mind on this, android head, so, basically the end is just, the android head telling everybody, I love you, Sue, thank you, Ben, for being such a wonderful friend, and, all this.
Oh, okay. And then they defeat Doom?
Yes.
Yeah, they always defeat Doom.
Oh, yeah, they basically shut down all the Doom bots, yeah.
He's a he's a college dropout.
I guess Reed had, the magic passcode that just shut down all the Doom bots.
It was Valeria, because that's how bad Doom is at passwords. Gotta remember, he's from, the 60s, man. Passwords were 1, 2, 3, 4... Password. Uncrackable.
But it's so funny, like old lady Sue has to try to get Steve Rogers to come out of retirement. Meanwhile, he's living at the Stark retirement haven for heroes.
Oh my gosh. Is he old or is he young?
No, he's old. I mean, he still looks younger than, remember when his serum gave out and he aged. I mean, he looks younger than that, but yeah, he's walking with like a cane and stuff. Mm. He's got the gray hair.
Don't they have like other heroes now?
Well, yeah. Well, that's the older heroes had to team up with the newer ones, like Miles Morales was there, Ironheart.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so okay. I mean, it sounds interesting. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, I know it's like the beginning of this.
So wait, are Valeria and Franklin in this, or do they never exist in this universe?
No, they do have Franklin. Franklin has kids now, so it's
Does he have phenomenal omnipotent powers?
He has his psionic powers, but I don't know if they're like. I don't think he's like really that cosmically powered, but yeah, he has. He's pretty powerful, like psychic, and he has all the psionic powers and stuff. Yeah, no Valeria, but yeah, Franklin, like I said, is a dad. I think he married some girl from Wakanda.
Oh yeah, they did that plotline. Yeah, and that's fine. He always marries a lady from Wakanda. But I always like it better when he is, the omnipotent one.
I guess they couldn't do that for this story though, because he would have taken out Galactus too easily.
Well, but then fine, then do that. Then say, if we had really plotted this as a well, no, because he was still a baby when was he even born when Galactus showed up?
Well, remember in this story, it's like they knew Galactus was coming like decades before he showed up, so it's just like, oh, Galactus, at least the
but I'm just saying, like from the actual life story timeline, Galactus shows up far earlier in their plotline.
I'm trying to remember.
So, like to me, that's like that's my biggest problem with this particular life story.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm familiar with the life story of the Fantastic Four, I know they faced Galactus. I mean, that might have even been before Reed and Sue were married.
Oh, in the 616.
Yeah,
I think so, wasn't it? Yeah, because
I think that was like episode 16, or so it was very early. I don't think Reed and Sue got married until like the 20s or something. I think it was like the second year into the whole story that someone said, what, maybe these two people living together, maybe they should be married.
Oh, I thought it was later than that, but
yeah, I have to feel the wedding of Reed and Sue was not until at least issue. I want to say it was issue 24. It might have even been like the first annual.
No, it was annual number 3, Charlie Esser, from...
Annual number 3?
From 1965.
So there you go. And I will bet you they fought Galactus long before then.
Yeah, because wasn't it... because that was around when the Silver Surfer first showed up, right?
Yeah, well, it's exactly when the Silver... Because he's the Herald. I know I overpaid for those issues. I think it was like 18, 19 something? Or
was it like... No, Fantastic Four 48?
Oh, 48. Oh, okay. So maybe the third annual might have been... Maybe he might have been born yet.
Cover date, March 1966, so...
Okay. So...
They were still newlyweds when Galactus showed up.
They were still newlyweds. You don't have a baby that fast. Trust me, even in comic books, you don't have a baby that fast. Otherwise, my mother always said the first baby can come at any time. The second baby always takes 9 months.
Looking up. Yes, I believe it's saying here, yes. Franklin was born in Fantastic Four Annual 6.
So there you go, 3 years later.
3 years after the marriage, yes.
Yes. Which is in keeping with comic book time.
Yes.
But this is the thing. It's like, it's not really a life story, because really, Galactus should have showed up earlier.
I know, Charlie, but they were trying to stretch it out because it had to go from the 60s.
Well, no, they were trying to make Galactus a big thing, whereas Galactus is honestly, it's a Thursday for the Fantastic Four. That's the real truth of it. It's like, global annihilating threat. It's like they want to build up Galactus, but Galactus is kind of like, Galactus is a meteor. It's scary for that individual world, but for the rest of the universe, it's not like
a meteor that will eat you.
Well, but that's what a meteor does. If
no, it smashes you. No, it smashes into you. Galactus eats you.
It's an extinction level event.
Yes.
That's it. It's an extinction level event, and they want to build to it, but it's like, but they're going to defeat the Galactus.
Yeah.
And honestly, to me, the whole idea of like, oh, he was worried about Galactus for years. I think that undercuts the entire concept of it. You know?
Yeah.
The whole concept of it is like, oh, wow, we faced so many weird and crazy things, and now here's a Galactus.
I mean, it just seemed odd to me. Like, what was it, the 80s, I think? The Silver Surfer shows up and says, okay, my master's coming in 10 years. Prepare yourselves.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know, it's like 10 years? Really?
I guess I guess you can make the argument that, you know, yeah, I'll be here in 10 years, and so that gives you time to evacuate, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, but, you know, for a planet that doesn't, I guess for a planet that doesn't have any interstellar travel, although I guess at this point, well, we already have a Fantastic Four. I mean, really, the thing would be to go right to the Fantastic Four and say, hey, you're that super scientist that made that super starship, right?
I think the whole thing...
You make like 10 more of those in the next 10 years.
Well, I'm trying
to
get
everyone off this planet. Go to Mars, terraform that place. It's pretty nice.
I think in one of the first couple issues, like Reed and Tony went to, was it the president? I forget. Was it Kennedy? It was one of the presidents, and was like, "Oh, hey, you know, Galactus is coming. We either need to build weapons, or I can't remember if they said about space colonization." And, you know, basically everyone was just like, "Oh, whoa, Galactus, get out of here! There's no such thing."
Yeah, well, that's where like a guy like the Silver Surfer would have been helpful.
Yes.
It's like, no, dude, President Eisenhower, pleasure to meet you. My name is Norman Rad. I'm the Silver Surfer. I can transmogrify matter into energy. Kindly get off this planet. My boss is going to eat you. So after this, it's on you, dudes. You know. Yeah,
it was just the thing. It's like nobody believed, and then by the time the Surfer does show up, it's like, oh, it's too late.
Yeah, honestly, it just seems. Yeah, like I said, it just seems this effort to. It seems like they've ignored the timeline.
Yeah.
To make a story that they wanted to tell, rather than the story that happened.
I mean, I will say the life story stuff. They take the big events but they mix them up all through the timeline. But I will tell you, yes, Spider-Man 1, they did do it better.
Yeah, well, and this is what I'll say, is Spider-Man has a much easier story to tell.
Yeah.
Because he spends a lot of time in sort of a doldrum.
Mm.
You know, Spider-Man spends lots of time in the Sargassus, where it's just, me, did it, girlfriend, did it.
And they did kind of keep the timeline kind of, you know, similar, because it's like, you know, in the 80s, he did go to Battle World, but it's like he was a much older Peter Parker who went to Battle World, that's all.
Well, exactly. And to be fair, he was a much older Peter Parker who went to Battle World from when he first started in the 60s.
Yes, but I just mean, I forget it. Yeah. He was older than he actually was in the 616, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, depending on how you do it. And then he doesn't marry Mary Jane until, like, the 80s, you know? It's like, there's a lot of stuff that happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he spent a lot longer with Gwen. But, of course, the Spider-Man one was better. I mean, it was written by Chip Zdarsky, you know, who's, you know, writing all the Daredevil stuff now.
Yeah, and I just feel like the minute they decided that Ben and Reed weren't friends.
Yeah, that was weird. Because what was it? Was it Johnny brought him in or something? Like, wait a minute.
None of that. And that's where it loses you.
I mean...
Because first off, you say that, so this is not based on the comic books we know.
Yeah. I mean,
so this is just an Elseworld tale. This is just...
I get what they were going for. They were trying to, like, show, like, the beginning, like, Reed and Ben building this relationship. But, yeah, I don't think they executed it that well.
No, but then, and to be fair, if you want to do that, and you want to do FF Life Story,
yeah,
you go back to college.
True.
Because that is the FF Life Story, which they already did in the Storms. And, you know, there's actually a series that told that story of Reed and Ben and Sue and Johnny and the meeting early on.
You got a point. It's like when every book's a decade. I mean, you could, you can make college at least half an issue or something. Something.
Well, you could at least establish who these characters are, and that's the thing. It's like so much of the later stuff is, and that's the thing. It's like you could have them. You could put that entire whole thing, the whole meeting Galactus, yada yada yada, in that first issue, from meeting Doom in college to the ultimate nullifier, and then we get married the next issue, and that's the 70s, and then the 80s. I don't know. I just think that you could do it a lot better.
Oh my god! But one of the good moments from this last issue, issue 6, is like they're battling Doom, and Sue tells the other, she goes, "Oh, come on, he was my husband's lab assistant." That didn't go over well with Doom. He was like, "No, I was his equal. I was more no lab assistant."
Well, he was. I don't know. Okay, we're not going to have any time to get to any of these other books.
Save them for next week, Charlie. Yes, sir. We got 2 shows next week.
Yeah, I know. But I just want to say, okay, so big shout out right now to Suicide Squad.
What did Ambush Bug do this month?
I'm sorry, what?
What did Ambush Bug do this month?
He met his soulmate.
Aw.
Blood Pouch.
Oh,
Blood Pouch is... By the way, I have to pick up this book. I don't know. Have you seen this Monkey Prince?
I saw the ad. I haven't read it yet.
I saw the ad. I saw the book. I was like, do I want to pick it up? It sounds weird. I don't know.
I know.
But the entire storyline of it's like Ambush Bug meets Blood Pouch is the whole of this story, and in this Blood Pouch is, as you might imagine, Deadpool. But, and it really shows you the difference between the two, the similarities and the wonderful, both the similarities and differences to the characters. There's one panel in particular that I'm trying to find here, where basically Ambush Bug is just saying, "I love you, my fellow fourth wall breaker." But, there is this scene. Here it is. Can you see this here? Want to make sure you guys can see it. And it's just Blood Pouch and Ambush Bug with leaning on the shoulders of the panel, looking in, talking about, wow, his name really was on the nose, wasn't it? He was getting help. It is interesting how they break it down. But there are several points where Ambush Bug is, and he is just always talking to the audience so directly, and it is beautiful, and I love it. Books we didn't get to this week: Amazing Spider-Man 88, Return to Let's Meet the Goblin Queen. Oh man, One Star Squadron. 3 of 6, really good book. The Marvels, for that throwback fun, number 8, Shang-Chi number 8, also awesome. Of course, we talked Thing 4, and of course, hey, I did finally read one of the Mirror Mirror books. It was awesome. Number 4.
Nice.
Okay, all these books are good, by the way. Everyone should pick them up.
Hey, just so everyone knows, what issue of Suicide Squad was that? Do you remember?
Yeah. Suicide Squad 12.
Ooh.
It's been a year with Ambush Bug, kids.
Nice.
Hope you've enjoyed it. All right, Philip, do you want to give us the Capes and Lunatics information?
Sure. All right. So everyone, again, let's promote it again. Yeah. Everybody, go check out the Annie Chang interview we did on Capes Lunatics episode 247. If you're listening to this on the podcast, it'll already be up on the podcast. It's already on the YouTube. You can watch the live video of it. Well, the recorded live video of it. But yeah, so send your thoughts on all of the interviews. If you're someone who'd like to be interviewed, TV shows, comic books, email us capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Capes and Lunatics and Superconnectivity on Facebook, on Twitter. You can find links to all the social medias for all the shows we do on the Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. Like I said already, the YouTube channel, you can check out the Annie Chang interview, and every episode we do gets a video. Most importantly, please, if you can, please subscribe to the Patreon. Right now, we're on our own. Everyone on the team is paying for this out of our own pockets. So, yes, we are paying to give you this quality content. So, any contribution is appreciated, but $3 to $5 gets you the early access to creator interviews. Mr. DG Chichester talks to me and Lilith every month, and it's a Patreon exclusive. So only on the Patreon you're going to get the superhero movie brackets, where we pit two quote unquote bad superhero movies against each other every month. So eventually, hopefully by the end of the year here, we're going to give you the worst superhero movie of all time. So, or at least out of the big list we picked. So, yes, find all of that and Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merchandise at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
And, of course, you can always write to me in the old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things like Naomi at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have listened to another episode of Superconnectivity. I hope you have felt connected to us for our supremacy, and I hope you come back again next week to super connect with us again. Good night.
Good night.
I don't know what that means, connect to us for our supremacy. I don't think it was particularly supreme.
Okay,
but
okay, Doom.
I am Doom! I am Otto, the superior connector! I love you too, Tristan. Lost on my camps.
We are Venomaniacs is the Venomsite official podcast for all of your symbiote news, reviews, and point of views about Venom-related comics, movies, television, animation, and merchandise. We are available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Join us, won't you?